What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for joining the Triple Play Fantasy YouTube channel. My name is Brad, and I want to talk about the NBA today. It's been 3 years since the 2019 NBA draft, and we've seen a good number of those prospects separate themselves as players with obvious potential to have long-term NBA careers. Some have even separated themselves into household names. So, I think it's time to redo the 2019 NBA draft and see where players should have gone based on the fit of the current team around them and the success that the players have had in their careers thus far. A couple rules for this draft is that I'll be assuming that the current starting lineups for the drafting teams are intact, unless they have a player from the 2019 draft in their starting lineup. Also, I'll consider the pick to belong to whoever it was traded to in 2019. So, without further ado, let's get into it. With the 10th pick, the Atlanta Hawks should have selected DeAndre Hunter. I think the Hawks got it right, but they probably drafted him too early with their 4th pick in 2019. I look at their starting lineup that features Trey at the point, Kevin Herro at the 2, Collins at the 4, Clint Capella at the 5. They needed to plug in a starting small forward, and I believe Hunter to be the second best of them in the 2019 draft, but I don't think he needed to be drafted 4th overall. Taking a look at his numbers, he's been a bit injury-riddled the last few years, but when he plays, he's met expectations. He's averaging 13 points, 4.3 boards, 1.7 assists in his career, shooting 43% from the field, 35.3% from 3, and 78% from the free throw line while averaging 30 minutes a game. The reason he was drafted so highly was he was part of the pack line defenses at Virginia, and the Hawks thought that that would transfer well to the NBA. The stats don't necessarily translate, however, as he's averaging 0.7 steals and 0.3 blocks in his career. His length and lateral quickness theoretically should make him a great defender, but he actually has a negative net rating in his career. With the 9th pick, the Washington Wizards should have selected Kevin Porter Jr. Rui Hachimura surprised me when he was selected in 2019, and then he surprised me by playing very well in his second year, but he's since been injured and fallen out of the starting lineup. KPJ provides secondary scoring to Brad Beal. He provides the ability to play point guard as he's shown in Houston, while also being able to play the 2, which I believe to be his natural position. Further, he's shown that he has no problem shouldering the scoring load as he had a 50-point game to go along with 11 assists last year, becoming the youngest player ever to log a 50-point double-double. That makes Brad Beal more expendable and allows the Wizards to plug in more holes in their roster with the return that they could get on Beal. KPJ has averaged 13 points, 3.6 boards, 4.4 assists in his career on 42% shooting, 35% from 3, and 68% from the free throw line. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that he's had some off-the-court drama attached to him, both pre-draft and during his NBA career, but who knows how much of that was trying to get out of a bad situation. He's still in the league, by the way, which tells me pretty much all I need to know. Whatever potential headaches he may be bringing with him, his talent and potential for serious production overshadows those risks. With the 8th pick, the Pelicans should have selected Jordan Poole. The Pelicans starting lineup consists of CJ McCollum at the 1, Brandon Ingram at the 2, Herbert Jones at the 3, 4 is empty because the player was drafted in 2019, and Jonas Valanciunas at the 5. I'm a big Herbert Jones guy. I think, he's an excellent 3 and D wing, but the Pelicans become a much better team if they can move Brandon Ingram to the 3 and put Jordan Poole at the 2 for more firepower on offense. The Warriors have developed Jordan Poole a truly tremendous amount to the point where there have been rumors that he's in line to get a 4-year, $80 million deal when the time comes for him to get a new contract. That far exceeds the value he was expected to garner being drafted with the 28th pick of the first round in 2019. This year, he's averaging 29 minutes per game, 16 points, 3.5 assists, 3 boards, 43% from the field, 33% from 3, all while shooting 93% from the line. He's a bona fide scorer in this league now, and I think he'd be a bona fide starter on New Orleans. With the 7th pick, the Bulls should have drafted Matisse Thybulle. Lonzo Ball is at the 1, Zach LaVine at the 2, Javonte Green is at the 3, DeMar DeRozan at the 4, and Nikola Vucevic is at the 5. Javonte Green sticks out like a sore thumb in this lineup. They signed Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball because they wanted more on-ball defense at the guard position, but Javonte Green is in the lineup because he provides wing defense with some switchability to 4s. Enter Matisse Thybulle. I think he was the best 3 available in the 2019 draft because his defense is so versatile and strong. If you disagree with me, I can understand, and it's probably because of his lack of offensive production. He was billed as the ultimate 3 and D threat, but it's just been D from Thybulle. He's averaging 5 points per game, 2 boards, and 1 assist over his career. Further, he's only averaging 32% from 3, 61% from the line. I'm not sure he'll ever get there offensively, but his ability to lock people down at 4 different positions is legitimate. It's the reason that he was unavailable in the trade talks for James Harden. He's averaging almost 2 steals and 1 block per game, and as bad as he's been on offense, he still has a positive net rating. That's how much of a menace he is on defense. Okay. If you're not pissed off at me now, this may be where I lose you. I have Zion Williamson going 6th to the Wolves. Hear me out. Before y'all say this is clickbait, part of this redraft exercise is that we already know the production levels of the players. So we know that Zion didn't talk to CJ McCollum after he was traded to the team. We know that JJ Redick went on ESPN and said he was a distant teammate. We know that he's hinted at loving New York and has been rumored to have wanted to get drafted by them at 3 in this very draft. We know that he's put on weight and that it's fluctuated every year he's been a pro. We know that he's had 2 surgeries on his foot now and hasn't played a game this year. We know that a big man with foot injuries has a poor track record in this league. So what do we do with this information? We draft him to a team where his production would be a luxury that could put them over the top, not to a team where he's the unquestioned center of the franchise. With him, the Wolves have a starting lineup of Pat Beverly at the 1, D'Lo at the 2, Ant Edwards at the 3, Zion at the 4, and Cat at the 5. It's a truly insane front court and also makes Cat expendable should they decide to move on from him. I'm not saying Zion isn't a beast, he most certainly is. He's averaging 26, 7, and 4 for his entire career. He's already got an all-star selection and an all-rookie selection. He's got commercials and he dominates headlines. He's everything you want in a draft pick. But longevity matters to GMs as well. And I firmly believe that if you told me Zion's career was going to be injury-riddled, he would have dropped in the draft. It would be a team like Minnesota that would have the pieces surrounding him to make that okay regardless of his games played. Lou Dort was an undrafted free agent in this class, and I think he's played himself into being a top 5 prospect of this class. The Cavs have completely rebuilt their team. They have Jared Allen at the 5, Evan Mobley at the 4, Lauri Markkanen at the 3, Caris LeVert at the 2, and they just need a point guard with their 5th pick because Garland is also in this draft, but I have him going higher. Lou Dort has been incredible. This year he's averaging 17 points, 4 boards, and 2 assists while shooting 33% from 3, 85% from the free throw line. And he's also a great defensive threat, as we all remember him giving James Harden hell a couple years ago. The Cavs absolutely made the right pick in 2019 with Garland, as he was the 2nd best point guard in the draft, but I don't think he'd be available at 5 if we redid the 2019 draft. Okay, on to number 4. The Hawks took DeAndre Hunter with their 4th pick in 2019, and I have them taking him with the 10th pick in this redraft. So who in the 2019 draft would be available at 4 and make the Hawks better? The man, the myth, the legend, Tyler Herro. With the exception of defense, there's nothing that Kevin Huerter does better than Tyler Herro. And quite frankly, the Hawks aren't playing much defense this year anyway, so it doesn't matter much that they're losing Huerter's defense in the starting lineup. Huerter played incredibly in the playoff bubble and was a key component of getting the Heat to the finals versus the Lakers in the 2020 bubble. He's averaging 20 points per game this year with 5 boards and 4 assists and shooting 38% from 3. He'd spread the floor even more for Trae Young, which would also make Trae more effective as well. He's a great fit for the Heat now, but I think he'd be an even bigger contributor on the Hawks. The Knicks did it. They made the right pick. In 2019, the consensus 3rd best player available was RJ Barrett, and today I still think it's true. RJ Barrett has played incredibly well. He's averaging 19 points per game with 6 boards and 3 assists, all while shooting 36% from 3, which was one of the biggest critiques of him coming out of school. He's going to be a cornerstone of New York for years to come, and he had a 46-point game just the other day. Props to the Knicks for not messing this one up. With the 2nd pick, the Grizzlies select Darius Garland. It's clear they made the right choice with Ja Morant in 2019, but if you stayed with me this long, you see where I'm going with the 1st pick in the draft. If Ja isn't available, then the Grizzlies need a point guard to go with their starting lineup of Desmond Bane at the 2, Zaire Williams at the 3, Jaren Jackson at the 4, and Steven Adams at the 5. Averaging 20 points per game, 8 assists and 3 boards, shooting 38% from 3 and 91% from the free throw line, he's legitimately a 50-40-90 threat, and that's a solid consolation from losing Ja Morant's production and what he brings to the team. In my opinion, due to Zion's health issues, it's clear that Darius Garland was the 2nd best prospect in this draft. At number 1, we don't have to spend much time on this one. There should be no doubt in anyone's mind that the Pelicans would take Ja Morant with the number 1 pick if they could run it all back. He's an all-star. He's earned Rookie of the Year. He made the All-Rookie team. He's averaging 28 points per game, 6 boards, 7 assists, shooting 50% from the field, 35% from 3, dazzling the league with incredible dunks. His face is all over ESPN, NBA.com. And on top of all that, he's catapulted himself into a legitimate MVP candidate this year. I bet that Ja has exceeded even what Memphis thought was possible of him at this point in his career. Ja Morant is by far the best player from the 2019 NBA draft, and I don't think it's even close.